Hello and welcome to Staying Wild's Masterclass, Steel Spine, Soft Heart. This is the masterclass for high achievers who are craving more than survival. This is about power, joy, and performance under pressure without, most importantly, selling your soul or your sanity. If you are watching today's masterclass, you are going to be delighted with my slideshow or presentation. Slideshow sounds very much like we're going to sit through a horrible beige cookie cutter presentation on Microsoft. But I promise you my presentation is super cute, it's fun, it's pink, it's glittery. If you are listening to the podcast, then you will just be able to enjoy my delightful voice. If you listen, if you watch, you're going to still get everything you need. Let's dive into the 3 outcomes that I hope you get out of today's masterclass. I really want you to be able to identify your own current mental patterns under pressure and uncomfortable situations. I want you to be able to learn how to shift your self-talk to escape stuckness, that victim mode, so you can actually step into a thriving loop that can be high performance, joy. When you're in the eye of the storm, you have that brilliant, calm, power, groundedness. Skiing into a whiteout, standing on a stage, walking into the boardroom with a shaky breath. The stakes are high, the pressure is on. What is your inner voice doing? We're going to start really simple, so we're all on the same page, because buzzwords like mental toughness and resilience are bandied about social media. Do we know what they are? Because there is a subtle but important difference between mental toughness and resilience. In today's masterclass, we're really looking at mental toughness, which is this inner fire. You're focused, confident, emotionally composed under pressure or in uncomfortable, challenging situations. When things are hard, you are committed to your goals, no matter the chaos. You're able to show up and perform at your best when maybe you feel at your worst. Mental toughness is skiing straight into that whiteout and trusting that you can handle the descent. Mental toughness is locking eyes with a gaslighting and bullying CEO in a high-stakes meeting, and you are calm, grounded, unshakable, because your power is not up for debate. Whereas resilience, that is your bouncing back power. That is your ability to recover, recalibrate, grow, and rise again after setbacks, stress, or failure. It's how quickly and completely you come back after being knocked down. It's what gets you back up, dusts the snow off your jacket, and helps you choose the next mountain to climb after a rough fall. So mental toughness gets you through the storm. Resilience gets you back up when the storm knocks you over. I want to make an important point between the divine masculine and divine feminine energies. This may be a bit woo for some of you, but please hang in there. Let's keep an open mind and learn something new. In the world of business, the masculine really takes over, and we don't want to be one or the other. So if we're a woman, such as myself, I don't want to always be in my divine feminine. And if I'm a man, I don't always want to be in my divine masculine. We want to be able to dip into one or the other of the energies when it serves us. And they provide us different ways of being mentally tough. The masculine is very much go, go, go. It's a hard-hitting energy. It's what pushes us to achieve. Whereas the feminine is softer, is more going with the flow, but still being grounded in your feminine fiery power. Maybe the masculine is reaching out for help, whereas the feminine is receiving the help. When it comes to feelings, the masculine is charging forward. I don't want to use the word suppressing or avoiding, but it's able to feel the feelings and move forward in a powerful, actionable way. Whereas the feminine is more, let's feel the feelings, move through them, and use them to respond in a way that serves us. So it's quite a subtle difference. We want to lean into the strengths of both, as both are essential. We can often find, as a high achiever, as a woman, too much in our masculine, and we want to go more into the feminine. What I am saying is not black and white. I never want you to take my word as gospel or that I am right. This is my current understanding and where my exploration, my learnings from my teachers has gotten me to this place of understanding. I want you to think about the divine masculine and feminine, what your balance is like, and what your understanding is, how you can use that and take it the next step forward to help you perform even better under pressure. I wasn't going to give this as an example. Hopefully the guy is not listening to this. I feel it's important that I share because I was having a session with one of my spiritual teachers yesterday. She's absolutely fabulous. We were talking about being in the feminine. I said to her, I really like this guy, but I don't want to chase. I want to attract. When you're looking at experts and gurus online, being in the feminine is all about magnetizing. They say it's the guy's job to pursue you, and it's to be in your feminine to allow them to do that and to receive their effort and energy. I said to her, I don't want to push too hard because I don't want to force a situation. I want to be in my divine feminine, my feminine power. It was so interesting. She said that is one way of being in the feminine is to attract, is to magnetize, but also a female is powerful, as we know. We are fiery, we're flirty, and we go after what we want. So to be in your divine feminine also means to shine your light brightly, to stand in your power and go, hey, this is me, this is who I am. I would love to communicate with you. I'd love to be with you. I'd love to spend time with you. This is me. So to still take action on that is still being in your feminine. It's creating this balance between taking action, going after what you want, not in a way that compromises your healthy boundaries. It's about taking action, but also being like, I don't mind what the outcome is because I know who I am. I know I'm worthy of love. I know I am loving. I know I am lovable. I'm going to put myself out there. And if it doesn't work out, that's still fine because their action or their interest does not define or value who I am. I hope that gives you an insight into the slight differences between the masculine and the feminine. The reason I want to include this in this masterclass as a mini segue is because I see a lot of my female clients who are high achievers, who are leaders, who have very much had to be in their masculine to get to their positions because they're in a male dominated field. Our environment has been created by masculine. So often we have to be in our masculine in order to thrive and survive in the career we've chosen. But it's really important that we start to lean into our feminine, lean into that strength and balance it out. I promise you, once you do that, because I see this every time with my female clients, the ripple effect out, the transformations, the changes that happen are incredible. And not just for my individual client, but for the people around them as well. And what it can set off, the chains of motion, reaction is just so cool. You get company restructures, you get headhunted, you get pay rises, you get opportunities, and the women around you take notice. So do the men as well. But the women are like, maybe I can actually now look after myself in a softer, more loving and feminine way. So just have a reflection on that. And if you have any questions, post them in the comments, slide into my DMs. All of that information is in the show notes below. Your brain is plastic. It changes, grows, and develops as a result of how you use it. This process is called neuroplasticity. Your brain is rewirable. Rewirable. That's a hard word to say. You are going to probably hear me say this in every single masterclass. Your brain can change, grow, and develop as a result of how you use it, because this is the number one thing you have to understand. This is why change can be easy. This is why change can happen quickly. This is why change can happen in more surprising ways than we realize and that most people tell you. If we look at traditional psychology, if we look at the majority of experts and gurus on social media, because let's face it, that's where the majority of us are getting our information from, they will tell you change is hard. Change takes a long time. Change happens in a linear fashion. Change can be challenging. And yes, that can be change, but change can also be easy and fast. I've experienced both ends of the spectrum when I've gone from bedridden with severe chronic fatigue syndrome to doing CrossFit in 3 days and Ironman within 1 to 2 years. I've gone from severe depression to now I'm living my best life in Norway by a fjord. Every skiable day, I was basically there in the mountains, in the snow. And that took me 2.5 years to get there. Now, some people are thinking that's probably actually really great. Like to go within 2.5 years to go from like wanting to die to now living your best life. That's quite quick. And in my head, I'm like, that's still quite slow. My greatest lesson at the moment is patience. I'm getting very impatient with having to be patient. I want everything now. But your brain is plastic, changing, growing, and developing, and therefore we can create change in really cool ways by harnessing the brain, which creates our entire reality. I feel this number one lesson is not talked about or shouted about enough, which is why gurus and experts tell us to create change in our life, I feel, the wrong way around. They always tell you to start with physical stuff, to start with actions, tasks, changing habits. I think that's completely wrong. We should start with the brain, create change in the brain, and then that ripples out into the rest of our lives. Habits, tasks, actions we once found difficult becomes second nature. Why are there sheep? If you're listening to the podcast, there are really cute sheep jumping across a very pink screen. Why? How are sheep related to the brain? No, I'm not talking about counting sheep to help you fall asleep. I want you to imagine there are sheep in a field. Leading this magnificent herd of sheep is a chief sheep. And he leads his flock of sheep, not herd, flock, to the same patch of grass every single day. Day in, day out. They follow the same path to the same field. Over time, that path gets worn down. We've all seen the sheep path in the fields when we're walking. This is now what that path is looking like. It's easy to follow. Maybe you can even see it from space. This is how deeply ingrained in the earth this sheep trail is. But one day the sheep's like, my herd are okay. They're not thriving. The grass isn't that great, but it's okay. And then one day he's like, maybe the grass is greener on the other side. And he spies what could be a greener and more luscious field. So he's like, I'm going to be brave. I'm going to be courageous. I'm going to take my sheep to a new field. He does just that. He takes his sheep to a new field. They are forging a new pathway. At the beginning, there's not really one to follow. By the end of the week, they have followed this new pathway day in, day out. It's now getting easier and easier to follow. You can see this new pathway from space because it's been trodden day in, day out by lots of sheep. It's been strengthened, it's been activated. That old path that they used to follow to the okay field, that is now overgrown. No one has gone down it, and it's really hard to follow. It's really hard to see. Maybe you even get lost. But this new field has produced thriving woolly coats. They're now glistening with health, with fun, with excitement, with joy, abundance. They are loving life. This is how your brain works. When you activate a new pathway, it might be a bit challenging at first, but once you keep activating that neuro pathway, it becomes stronger, better, and faster at its job. That old pathway you used to activate, but no longer do, that becomes weaker and weaker. It becomes harder to activate. This is how I was able to rewire my brain from severe chronic fatigue syndrome. That pathway is so old, so weak, it's not been used in so many years that just doesn't exist in my brain anymore. Or maybe it does, but it's very faint. My new pathway for calm energy, for high energy, for excitement, because there's different forms of energy, they are so activated, they're so strong that is my normal now. I hope you can start to see how your brain rewires. The other cool thing your brain does, this other superpower, is your brain edits your reality based on what you tell it to look for the most. The opposite of mental toughness could be victim mode. Woe is me, the world is against me, everything bad happens, da 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 da. Now, I've done victim mode, I'm sure you have too. When we're in victim mode, and we're going, bad stuff always happens to me, your brain is going to edit your reality to match this statement because you're telling yourself this the most. The brain doesn't differentiate between what is helpful to you and what is unhelpful. It goes, what are you using and saying the most? This must be what you want. Let me help you make that your reality. So then victim mode becomes our default state. It will make mountains out of all this small stuff. Maybe your coffee is colder than you want. Oh, I knew I'd be served a shit coffee. You have these small things which the brain makes into these big things. It's like waving flags, being like, hey, look over here. Another reason you're a victim, another reason why bad stuff happens to you. If we were to look at it from a person who isn't in victim mode, they're like, oh, my coffee's a bit colder than usual. Okay, that's okay. Stuff happens. Like, whatever. I can just reheat it. If someone doesn't keep the door open, you just open the door yourself and you probably don't even think about it. You're like, oh, maybe they're just busy. They're stressed, whatever. Your brain is editing your reality based on what you tell it the most and which neural pathways are the strongest. So for mental toughness to become your default state, you want to point out consciously to your brain all the ways you're mentally tough. We start making mountains out of those things. Once upon a time, I was walking down a London high street called Chiswick, for those who know London. It's a really cute little village in London. My friend was in a space where she really wanted a family, but she didn't even have a boyfriend at the time. Her brain was just like, oh, we don't have a family, this sucks. I was in my mid-20s, single, ready to mingle, ready to party, looking for some hot stuff. As we are walking down this high street, my brain is like, cute boy, cute boy, cute boy. I'm like, this is great. Whereas my friend was like, oh my God, there are so many yummy mummies here. How do they all have partners? How do they all have children and babies and I have no one? I was like, what the hell are you talking about? There are no yummy mummies here. But have you seen all the hot guys? At that point, a veil lifted for both of us. Because suddenly she was like, oh my God, there are a lot of cute single guys or potentially single guys. And then I was like, oh my God, there are actually a lot of mums here with their children having coffee in the sunshine. This is how your brain edits your reality according to what you tell it to look for. In order to create a reality that you enjoy, that satisfies you, you need to point your brain in the right direction. I forgot I had a whole slide on how your brain edits your reality. There are 7 factors when it comes to mental toughness. Now, for those listening, there is a diagram on my screen full of different colors and the 7 factors that interact with each other to create mental toughness. The 6 key ones that are constantly interacting with each other is your external environment, your beliefs and identities, your knowledge and your skills around mental strategies and resources to help you be mentally tough, emotional regulation or emotional composure, self-talk, and your habits and your routines. These are constantly interacting with each other on a day-to-day basis to help you show up as your best self under any given situation. These then come together in preparation. We know if we have a challenging situation coming up in which we need to be mentally tough for, we're going to combine these things into the preparation. We're going to ensure that we have created an environment in which we can be mentally tough in, or that supports us in our mental toughness. We're going to maybe have practiced a few strategies. This is what an athlete does, right? So before a competition, they ensure their environment is supporting them as best as possible. They've done the work to ensure their beliefs and identities are aligned with the version they want to be who shows up in this situation. They've practiced and they know the mental strategies and resources they have and will use in the situation. They're able to regulate their emotions, to talk to themselves in a mentally tough way, and they ensure they have the habits and routines that supports them in being mentally tough too. They have the rituals before their competition. And you as a CEO or as a leader or as a high achiever will have maybe rituals you do before going into a high pressure situation, whether it's a board meeting or you have to stand up in front of your colleagues. Maybe it's a job interview. These 6 things then come into our preparation, and that then produces our tough responses, our performance and outcomes on a unconscious and conscious level. So these 7 factors: external environment, tough beliefs and identities, mental strategies and resources, emotional regulation, emotional composure, self-talk, habits and routines, with preparation, enable us to show up as our best self under any given situation. Today, we are looking at self-talk, which is one of the key factors for mental toughness and also for creating change, because it is the words you use that create the architecture of your reality. The words you use that activate and strengthen your neuro pathways. Now, again, if we look at traditional psychology, they don't believe self-talk is that impactful when it comes to performance. If we look at the more alternative fields, such as, dare I say, hypnosis, neuro-linguistic programming, and if we look at neuroscience, and some of the research in psychology shows self-talk has some of the biggest impacts on the brain, which is why I love self-talk, not this positive hippy-dippy stuff. Think your way positively into your manifestation. That's not what I teach. I teach you, and you're going to experience this in a moment, how to talk to yourself in a helpful way so you can get the result you want. So you can rewire your brain to create the reality you want. So you can show up as the version of yourself you want. This is how I teach self-talk. So we're going to dive into tough thinking. I want you to think of a moment, if it is safe to do so, where your soul cracked. By this, I mean where you experienced a mental tough situation and maybe you were disappointed with how you showed up. Maybe it was a race and you felt like you failed. Maybe it was a board meeting and you came out and be like, oh, I could have done better. Maybe a job interview when you're like, oh my God, that went terribly. A moment in your life when you just didn't show up as the version you wanted. You felt like maybe you were in victim mode, you were in failure mode. And I want you to think about, what was your narrative? How did I talk to myself then? What phrases or what words were coming up the most? Have a think about that. The next thing I want us to think about is one of my favorite studies when it comes to self-talk. I have now clicked onto a slide about a self-talk research article on golf. Now, if you hear golf and you're immediately hitting snooze, please don't. I promise you, you will find this research article riveting. And I even found an image of a golf ball with a princess crown on top. And I was like, this is so freaking cute. I am using it. In this research article, we had about 100 golfers be given confidence-inducing instructions before they did a putting exercise. We had another 100 golfers be given anxiety-inducing instructions before the same putting exercise. Now, this was just one paragraph, so 4 to 5 sentences of instructions that were designed to either induce confidence or anxiety. The confidence instructions read something like this: you are doing amazing. You have done so brilliantly in your practice. You have the golfing skills you need, the capability, the evidence, the hours, effort and energy you have put in has set you up for this moment. You have everything you need to succeed. The anxiety-inducing instructions read something like this: you have not done the training to succeed. You are going to fail. You haven't put in the necessary time, effort, or energy. You're lacking the skills. You're lacking the evidence. You're probably going to fail. It's not going to work out for you. It's going to go badly. People are going to think you're an idiot or that you're not very good at golf. I'm sure in one area of your life you can relate to the confidence-inducing instructions, and in another area, the anxiety-inducing instructions. Now, what's interesting is if we're like, self-talk doesn't have that much impact on my life. Let me introduce you to the results. Every golfer of the 100 golfers who read the confidence-inducing instructions were 10 to 15 centimeters closer to the hole. That is big in golf. They had an 8% increase in holes putted. They had a significant reduction in stress response. They had a significant increase in attention and focus, and they were more in the flow state. So less conscious processing was going on. They were operating more from the unconscious. I really want you to think about how incredible this is. All they did to become 8% more accurate, to get 10 to 15 centimeters closer to the hole, was just to read 4 to 5 sentences before the challenge, which made them feel more confident. How crazy is that? Especially when we bring it into our own lives and you think about different situations you're walking into. It could be when you're literally just going up to a lift. Instead of thinking, oh, this is going to be heavy, it's going to be hard, it's going to be horrible, more likely it is. More likely you're not going to lift that weight as easily or as brilliantly as you would have done if you went in thinking, I have got this, it's going to feel great, I'm going to feel strong. And then take that into work, into other areas of your sport and your life, maybe even into dating. So self-talk for mental toughness is crucial. One of my past clients is Alan Hovde, who is a fantastic Norwegian endurance athlete. When he competed in Norseman, my gosh, it's so many years ago now, I think it was 2019, although he won, he felt he had failed. This is surprising, right? I mean, if you won a race, you'd be freaking ecstatic. You'd be like, hell yeah, I just won. But he was not satisfied with his performance. He felt like he failed because he lost a 21-minute lead. In that race, he describes going from being in performance mode to switching to victim mode. He went from thinking, I'm going to win, to thinking how he could lose. He describes it as whip language and carrot language. So whip language being, okay, you may have a 21-minute lead now, but the guy behind you is catching up. You're going slower and slower. You're feeling the fatigue, the pain. You're gonna lose your position. Whereas carrot language, that high performance language, is you're doing so great. You can maintain this lead. You're feeling strong, fast, powerful. You've got this. We worked together for about 1 year. We really looked at how can we make sure your self-talk is rock solid superstar status by really ensuring that the way he thought supported himself to be the best athlete he could be meant that in one season, he broke the Norwegian Ironman record twice, knocked 5 minutes off his extreme Norseman triathlon time after 10 years of competing, which is extraordinary for endurance sport. He then cut 40 minutes off his Arctic triple time, another intense triathlon, and set a new course record in the process. And he finally felt satisfied with his performance, whether he won or lost, because he knew every time he went out onto that race course, he was going to leave everything he had on that course. He was going to ensure he finished knowing he was the best athlete he could be on that day. What we're now looking at is this stuck loop, this victim mindset. And it starts with an unhelpful thought. So maybe we're thinking, what might go wrong about the situation? So-and-so is better than me. I'm a stressed person. I'm not good enough. I'm going to fail. I can't do this. And this could be coming from yourself, or maybe it's coming from someone else. I had one leader whose boss was not pleasant and kept calling her crazy. So that's what she started to believe. I'm crazy. Our thoughts activate feelings and more thoughts connected with this unhelpful language. This then creates more unhelpful thoughts, more unhelpful feelings. This starts to influence your choices, decisions, behaviors, and experiences. So if you're thinking and feeling, I'm a failure, you then start to make choices, decisions, you start to act in ways that reflect your failing. You are a failure. And then this is when that editing process comes into play. Your brain is like, oh, they're thinking and feeling that they're a failure. They're saying this all the time. This must be what they want. Let me help them. I'm now going to edit their reality to make this even more true. This activates more unhelpful feelings, more unhelpful thoughts, more unhelpful choices, decisions, behaviors, experiences. So stuckness, whether it's I'm a stressed person, I'm crazy, I'm failing, I can't do this, the world is against me, is becoming more and more familiar to you. And weirdly, it's becoming more comfortable to you. This only further activates and strengthens those unhelpful neuropathways. So they get better, stronger, and faster their job. Your brain is now rebuilding itself, rewiring itself for you to think, feel, and act automatically in this way now and in the future. So your future, for example, I'm crazy or I'm a failure or I can't do this, I'm stressed, becomes a return of your past. And we get stuck. I want to tell the story of Spencer because he got stuck in that loop of I'm a failure. He felt a failure in his career. He was like, I should be further along. I should be earning more. I should be enjoying it. I should be using my degree. My wife is earning more than me. Her business is more successful. I'm such a failure. She must think I'm a failure. He felt like he was failing as a father. He wasn't connecting with them good enough. He wasn't being there for them enough. He felt he was a failure as a partner. He wasn't there for his partner enough. It was just spiraling further and further down. There was a small part that just hoped that change could happen. And that small part of him brought him to me. Immediately, we started to change these identities and beliefs around who he was as a person, as a father, as a career man, as an athlete. The first thing we did was shifting this language and these beliefs around failure. Within 12 months, he went from feeling stuck in his career, failing, he would never get a better job, to getting a £36,000 pay rise and becoming a leader and in an area he dreamt of within a company that was positive and supportive. So once you start shifting your language, you can achieve beyond your dreams. He literally texted me like, holy shit. Well, he didn't say that. I'm now making that up. But he says, I cannot believe this, Adelaide. Like, you know, that £20,000 pay rise we thought we got me is like, it was 36. Your life can change so quickly. That was within 12 months. It's just so exciting what can happen when you exit this loop and when you step into the thriving loop, the confident loop. This language starts with, I'm getting stronger and more confident. You're thinking about all the brilliant things that could happen and will go well about the situation. You're getting great or better at a certain skill. I can overcome this. I can do this. I've got this. I am worthy. I am deserving. This activates more feelings and thoughts associated with this helpful language. More feelings and thoughts means you're now unconsciously, positively, and helpfully influencing your choices, decisions, behaviors, and experiences. And now the brain's going, hey, they're thinking and acting in this way more. Let me help them create this reality. So suddenly it's like, look at all the positive things happening in your life. Look at all the amazing things you're doing. This creates more feelings, more thoughts. You're now acting more in a way that serves you. So this positive stuff is now becoming more familiar and more comfortable to you. Your brain is rebuilding itself for you to think, feel, and act in this helpful way automatically. Your neuropathways for all this helpful, positive stuff are getting faster, stronger, and better at their job. So feeling confident, feeling like a leader who is earning £60,000, £70,000 is who you are. That is your normal default state. Let's upgrade your mental toughness and your brain. I want us to move from, I can't do anything about this, to what can I do to make myself or the situation, which is really changing yourself, influencing yourself, to make this better, good, or best. Slay queen. Well, if I don't make you laugh, at least I'm making myself laugh. I want to put a very fine point on this. This is not about blaming yourself, about being stuck, about being a failure, about being not good enough. It's not about finding fault. It is about choosing your most powerful move. Mental toughness is knowing your power is in your response. I want to tell you about one of my favorite clients called Celia. She went from, I'm crazy. Do I need to quit my job because I am burning out? I am on the breaking point. Do I have to go on sick leave? Like, what the hell do I do? Because I cannot see a positive way forward. The change started from session 1 with yours truly. Within 3 months, she was owning her power. Within 6 months, a fabulous, impactful leader, a supermom, and having the capacity again to do things she loves that fills her soul. And that's because we got to out of that stuck loop, out of that negative self-talk where I'm not a good leader, I'm going to fail, I'm not empathetic enough, I'm not good enough, I'm not brave enough, I'm not powerful enough, whatever that unhelpful stuff was going on in her head. We removed all of that. We shifted it to, I know who I am. I know I'm a brilliant leader. I know I am worthy. I am deserving of a life I love. I am a brilliant mother. I can do this. I can stand in the storm, grounded in myself, knowing who I am, knowing my values, and make the best decisions. She can now make light of plot twists. And being able to be grateful for where you are and laugh at the absurdity of a situation is really powerful. That is much more of an upward spiral and a thriving loop than going down this despair, helplessness, because you're like, this is failing, this isn't working. She's able to hold her vision of the leader she wants to be and step into and embody that every single day. That has had a profound impact on her immediate team and on the colleagues around her, because she has been instrumental in leading the restructure of the company to go from a toxic environment to a more positive, uplifting, and optimistic environment in which they are creating a vision where everyone is valued and working together to create an incredible company, but also to show up as their best selves and live a life they all love. The key thing we did was notice when you're saying something unhelpful and then changing it. For example, I'm anxious about this last minute meeting, to, okay, I want to feel grounded and prepared for this meeting. What action can I take that will help me to feel that now? How can I step into the feelings I want to feel? Okay, let's take that action and let's go. It's really about, as I've said before, the quality of your questions equal the quality of your life. And you've got to start asking yourself the right questions to guide yourself into the right feelings, thoughts, and responses so you can show up as your best self. So a simple daily self-talk tool is notice when you're in the golf bunker, notice when you're in the pit, when you're doing something unhelpful. To become more aware of your self-talk is to set that intention. Some people like journaling, but really it's about setting that intention during the day. What am I saying to myself? What thoughts am I having? Are they serving me? Are they not? Are they helping me? Are they not? If they're not helping you, okay, what feelings and actions would be performance or life enhancing right now? I don't like using the terms positive and negative self-talk, positive and negative feelings. I think all feelings can be helpful in certain situations. We want to make sure that we are talking and acting in ways that enhance our performance and enhance our life, that make it good, better, or best. Is then thinking, well, how can I connect with those feelings? If we want to go into a meeting feeling calm, let's do some breathing exercises beforehand. Even during a meeting, let's make sure we're breathing calmly and we have a mantra we can say to ourselves that will anchor us. It's about acting in alignment with that feeling, even before it feels real. Maybe we don't feel like a 60,000K leader, but let's align ourselves and embody as much as we can that feeling so we get used to it, so it becomes our new normal. Wild women and wild men, we are not broken. We rewire. Mental toughness isn't born, it is built. It is a muscle. It is a skill that needs to be practiced and strengthened. I have in thick black writing, in capital letters, you do not need to be perfect. Because I know a lot of high achievers are perfectionists and we wait for the perfect time. We don't need to be perfect. Chuck that belief out the window. Focus on transforming one thought at a time to rewire your brain and reclaim your toughness, your soul, your sanity. We've now come to the end of today's masterclass. I hope you've enjoyed this different format. If you want to take this further, if you like what you've heard, and you're like, I want more. I want this woman in my corner. I mean, you have great taste. So if you know your next level won't come from hustling harder, burning out, or playing small, the rise of the wild woman is your next move. This is my signature 35-day experience for high achievers ready to unlock your next soul-aligned career breakthrough with clarity, confidence, and zero burnout. With one powerful shift a day, real results the feel-good way, all designed to help you rise, reset, and reclaim your wild in your own time. You bring the fire, I have the formula. And the investment, it is just 990 krona or about £69 for my British friends, the impact is worth every damn crone. There may even be a little juicy discount for you when you click through the link below. Let's make success feel as good as it looks. I would love to have you join. It will be so much fun. If you liked this masterclass, you like how I teach, then The Rise of the Wild Woman is for you. If you have any questions, slide into my DMs and I will answer them in the Wild episode, which comes out every Thursday. Thank you so much for listening. This is a slightly different episode format. There is no special guest, as this masterclass went on for much longer than I was expecting. We really did a deep dive into mental toughness. And please subscribe, rate, review, join the Rise of the Wild Woman, follow me on Instagram, connect with me on LinkedIn. It's just been such a pleasure to have you join me for this long. Well done for hanging in there. I hope you learned a lot about mental toughness, and yeah, stay wild.